Good morning and welcome to another episode of Who's Tom and Dick. I hope you're all well and had a good week. And today we're still reminiscing about my old mate Martin. Still can't believe he's not with me. So I've got the next best thing this morning. I've got Jonny, his son, who's joined me, and we're going to talk over old stories. So I'd like you all to welcome to the podcast today, Jonny Weavers. Good morning, Jonny.
Good morning. It's
strange to be here.
It's very strange to be here. I was going to say it's lovely. Obviously, the wrong word.
Yeah.
I'm really glad to be here to talk about my dad, and I'm looking forward to it.
Well, it's lovely to have you. And it's strange that we never ever got you on the podcast. I mean, me and Martin talked about it quite a few times, and I don't really know why it didn't happen.
No, I did have words. Yeah,
you did you?
Yeah, he's had my sister on here, and
we went down and saw your sister.
Yeah, I used to give him a gentle nudge.
Yeah,
ask him. Yeah, what am I waiting for? I was expecting the letter in the post.
Yeah. Well, here you are, and perhaps you'd like to start by telling me a little bit about your dad from your side.
So yeah, my dad, he was brilliant. From the moment I was, born, he's always been a presence in my life.
Mm-hmm.
Even the years, when he lived out in Spain, we always stayed in touch. There weren't many days we went without communicating in, one form or another. He loved to FaceTime. It was great. Like I say, even when he was in another country, we felt like we could still see each other that way.
Yeah.
He loved sport. He really pushed that from an early age, and I have very much inherited my dad's love for footy and cricket.
Oh, yes.
He was a big Arsenal fan. We shared that love together.
We can't all be perfect, can you?
No, I do. Yeah, lots of years of hurt. I wish he'd support someone better. But yeah, maybe this year, maybe for him this one.
Well, we're all keeping our fingers crossed on that.
Absolutely. We shared the same comedy loves.
Yeah.
I remember my dad letting me stay up late at night, or it felt late at night, to watch Shooting Stars with old Vic and Bob. I remember...
Your dad and I actually went to see that live in Ipswich.
Yeah, that's it. It's brilliant.
Did he ever tell you that?
He did. I remember him going to see it with you as a young man, obviously, or young boy probably back then.
Yeah.
And then I did also get to go and watch it with him, and I think my sister came along as well, and we saw him at the Regent years later.
Right.
It was brilliant. Yeah. We always found particular enjoyment with the tumbleweed joke. Every time Vic Reeves told a joke that no one laughed at, we found that I couldn't stop laughing, and nor could Dad, and I remember sharing that with him.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we definitely had similar taste in our comedy.
We did a talent show down in Worthing one night.
Yep.
And it was quite a tough talent show to do, but we did get a good review in the local paper, and they said Martin and Moore, the next Vic and Bob.
Oh, what a comparison! Yeah,
exactly. Yeah,
that's the perfect comparison for you guys, isn't it?
And that's where it stopped.
Yeah,
unfortunately.
Yeah, downhill ever.
Yeah,
but I bet that made his day. That one.
That certainly did. So, if I was to ask you, what's your first memory? What first memory comes to mind when you think of your dad?
Oh God, holidays. I think
going to be loads. I reckon.
Yeah. Well, God, and this is what obviously his passing has brought up. You go back through all the old photos. You start, getting the photo albums out, looking at memories from being, a young child. Infants almost. We had some good holidays when we were kids.
Yeah.
Yeah. My mum's dad owned a timeshare. So we'd always go every 2 years to save up a week. I remember that. We got to get 2 weeks, and we went to Spain and Mallorca a lot, and we had some funny memories. And yeah, my sister and I always like to talk about them now. Some involved Dad and Mum getting a bit drunk and making fools of themselves.
Right.
But they were always quite amusing that we can look back now on, fondly.
But they're just having fun, really.
Of course they were. They were, they worked hard. So,
I know your dad had fond memories of Benidorm, so that must have been the Spain element when you used to go to Spain, you guys, as youngsters, I reckon.
Yeah.
And you also had really fond memories of Yarmouth, Great Yarmouth.
We looked at, I remember some days out at Pleasured Hills, I think that was that way.
Yeah.
Yarmouth is a place, both my sister and I still, will visit, and obviously Dad moved nearer that way as well, obviously in his last few years, so Yarmouth was brilliant. Obviously it's great for kids, so we enjoyed those holidays. I was going to say abroad, Yarmouth's definitely not that. I suppose that's Benidorm resembled a little bit of the sort of British seaside town, didn't it? But with a lot better climate.
Yeah. You might not know this, but Martin and I had got a charity fundraising event planned for this year.
I didn't know.
No, you didn't. And I always took the mickey out of him from donuts.
Right, because he loved them.
He loved them. As all in good form. Lynnie used to get a bit annoyed at times because she was trying to keep him on a diet, and I kept saying, donuts, donuts, donuts. But he had a love for donuts, so we were going to do a challenge. We were going to go from Cromer all the way down to Clacton.
Yeah.
And we were going to test all the donut stands from down the East Coast.
Yeah. What, for charity?
For charity.
yeah, not for you two. No,
I don't think we'd have eaten a whole donut because I think there's something like, I think we counted about 9 different stands in Yarmouth alone.
Oh, wow.
But we were going to do a challenge, so much a donut, and we were doing that for charity this year, cancer charity, which was dear to his heart.
Absolutely.
So
I think you should still try that one in his memory.
Wouldn't approve because obviously
He'd be jealous. Yeah.
So how would you describe your relationship with your dad? Because, father and son is always quite a difficult relationship at times because he's obviously trying to guide you. And as a youngster, you don't want to listen. And I know I was like that when I was talking to my dad, but I know he was always had my best interests at heart. How was your relationship?
Yeah, we, growing up, like, so I look back fondly, had a good childhood. Dad, me and my sister, we always knew we'd been naughty if Dad was sent to deal with us.
Right.
Apart from that, Mum sort of would be the one. And if Dad needed to get involved, we knew we'd pushed it too far.
Yeah.
My dad left probably when we was in our teenage years, and so I missed him like mad. Like that was a really hard few years. Dad's, I think I was about 13. Dad left home, but we maintained that sort of, contact throughout our entire life. Dad was a great dad. Like I say, I remember him managing my cricket team.
Yeah.
That was great because me and him could organise it together, which is...
You didn't find that a bit sort of intimidating because all the other kids said, oh, you're bound to be playing because your dad's the manager.
I did feel a bit of extra pressure because, you'd always feel like, you'd have to really perform well. Yeah, no, I was half decent bowler when I was younger. I'm terrible now. But Dad was obviously managing us then, and as I loved football, Dad was always there every game from my memory. I always remember him on the sideline cheering me on. He hated it if someone would foul me or hurt me in any way, and I could always see his reaction. He'd tell me to get stuck in back, and we had a great relationship there. That continued throughout our adult, into my adult life. I'm terrible at DIY, absolutely abysmal. I've got my strengths. I always help my dad with the numbers as a maths teacher. Obviously, that's always been quite a natural, easy thing for me to do.
Yeah.
So I would always help him when it came to finding the right bank account with a decent bit of interest and helping him with anything, number based.
Yeah.
But the moment I couldn't put a lock on a door or hang a picture up, I'd be straight on the phone to my dad.
You started to have a go when you moved here, didn't you? Because I remember your dad saying, "Oh, I've got to sort Johnny some paintbrushes out." Or
that's true. Yeah. Even then, though, I'm walking around at the shop, FaceTiming Dad, saying, "Which paint do I need?"
Yeah.
Because I knew without that, I'll get the wrong one. So, God knows who I'll annoy now with those sort of inane questions. Yeah. So, that carried on throughout our life, and it was a difficult one because, like I say, I don't know how much Dad shared on the podcast. Obviously, Dad grew up without that dad role in his life.
Yeah.
So there were times when our roles were the other way round,
Mm-hmm.
Dad would have a good gig. Dad would have a good refereeing game. And obviously where a son would usually phone a dad there, he didn't have that. So he'd phone me and he'd tell me. And he'd tell me all about it and tell me... what happened in the footy match that he was reffing, and I love going to watching ref. I think, although it is difficult to hear lots of fans call your dad a few choice words, even if you did agree, with some of their viewpoints. But I can't speak positively about no father-son relationship's perfect. Of course it isn't, but I do look back with great memories, and I realise when I speak to some other people about sometimes at work, and you hear
about
dads that aren't great.
Yeah.
And then you think, yeah, I didn't have it bad.
No.
You know.
Do you find yourself now as a dad following in his footsteps, taking?
Oh yeah,
because he hadn't got that to draw on as a father.
No, he didn't. He was going in blind. Yeah,
he was brought up from his mum and his aunt, so he hadn't got a dad figure to really train from.
Yeah, model himself upon.
Yeah, model himself from. So
I definitely, yeah, I remember the things that he got really right. Sometimes I learned from the things he got a bit wrong, you know.
Yeah.
And definitely I can see when I, parent my own two boys, I use similar things, similar tactics, because you do need them with teenage boys to try and support them, to try and help them feel loved and supported by their dad.
The silly thing is, if you want to adopt your child, you have to jump through hoops before you actually get that child. If you want to have a child on your own, you can have it straight away. You've got no... You've got no experience, have you? So you have to learn it as you go along. So you do look back on your dad for those sort of things.
God,
he must have found that quite difficult at times.
Yeah, because you get... like I say, even with dad's guidance, even with, learning what I learned from dad, you still get loads wrong.
Yeah.
That's hard to sometimes accept. And that's what I do try and do with my own boys, and try and make sure that they know it's okay to accept when you've done something wrong.
Yeah.
You got it wrong. Apologise to your kids. Don't be too sort of proud to admit it when you've got it wrong.
How have they taken losing their grandfather?
Yeah, it's difficult.
It is. It must be.
Yeah, my youngest boy is, he talks about not sleeping as well since and things like that. Obviously, we're still awaiting at the moment the funeral, the celebration of life, and I think that's going to be a really tough day because at their age, I'm glad to say they haven't experienced much sort of loss, big losses in their life. They've experienced it a little bit, pets, etc. And but this is their first sort of grandparent or big person in their life, so it's going to be tough. And my eldest is, I think, he saw me shed a lot of tears, especially, that first week when, worked through a few boxes of tissues, just crying my eyes out.
We all knew that the day was coming, but in the end it was so quick, wasn't it? We didn't have a chance to really take a breath.
It came out of nowhere. Yeah, it's, Dad was smashing it. He absolutely smashed it. He fought like mad, and oh my God, he gave himself those extra few years. The oncologist, Dr. Patterson, who I know has been on your podcast, Dad raved about him. That man is, given us years more of our dad than we thought we would get when he got his original diagnosis. So the night Dad passed, my head was all over the place, but the one thing I did get was his email, and I'd like to, I'm going to reach out and thank the man because, he obviously gave our dad years more. Unfortunately, at the end, it went fast. Dad messaged me in October a scan picture of his lungs, clear of cancer. They were almost empty of it. Yeah. And he was so happy, he was buzzing. And then obviously the news in December that it had really taken a turn, and we knew it was, we were told at that point months, and months very quickly became weeks to days. And the night, it was so fast. But in a way, I'm almost comforted that it was quick because Dad was living a good life right up to that last day or so. Well,
I got a message on my text phone on Boxing Day. I wished him happy Christmas. I spoke to him every day, via text or by voice message or called. And I got a message on Boxing Day that he had a fabulous Christmas day.
Yeah, he did.
And I can show you that text. So you certainly, you certainly gave him a Christmas to remember.
It was a lovely day.
Yeah. It is hard. You have all these memories, and sometimes they can work in reverse, can't they? They bring back the emotion and everything, and you start thinking, God, I wish he was still here.
Yeah.
Or I wish I was back there.
I love having the memories, though, And of course, they do make you sad. And I've got a lovely photo from that day, and it's really difficult to accept he's gone. But the thought of not having all those memories, at least we have them, and we can share them and we can talk about them for years to come. And
my father died of heart disease, and I went up to the pub that night. I sat there and watched Charlie's Angels with him, of all things. I normally go up to the pub at 8, but that night I sat and watched Charlie's Angels with him and went at 9. Okay. No reason. I just sat there and chatted with him, watched Charlie's Angels. And I got up there, and within a half an hour, I got a phone call from the doctor to say, get home quick. And he died. When somebody leaves you that quick, I know it's been building up and we know what Martin had. But when somebody goes so quickly, is there anything you sort of wish you would have said to him?
Me and Dad communicated so well. Like you said, I spoke to him every day. I think I knew. I remember Dad going back into hospital New Year's Eve. He loved Boyzone. I know it's my dad had terrible taste in music, but there was the Ronan Keating New Year's Eve show, and I remember watching it. And I'd had a few beers New Year's Eve, and I felt, thought about my dad, and in the hospital alone on New Year's Eve, and I cried my eyes out. It was horrible. I felt really sad, and I said to my partner Alice, "This is going to be last New Year's. I know it is." A day or so after that, we got the the really difficult call from Lynnie and Dad. Dad attempted to talk, but his voice had gone. And he said, "Lynnie will tell you the news," and bless her, she struggled, through tears, telling us that he's he's been moved to the hospice. He never got to the hospice, bless him. No. It was so quick. But me and my sister, and Lynnie, we went into hospital, and I really wanted some time with him, and on my own, to say all these, to have those chats with him, to talk about those, anything really. And I got an hour with him, and an hour doesn't sound a lot, and it felt like a long time, but because it was we talked about a lot. Dad asked me, really, he needed some reassurance. He just told me, he tried to be a good dad, and I gave him that reassurance, and that's it. I cried my eyes out. I feel myself welling up a little bit now. I told him how great a dad he was, and that all these, because he always felt bad for leaving home when he was, for when we were teenagers, leaving me mum and all that. And I told him we had a good childhood, Dad, and we did, but family split, and I'd rather, and him and my mum get on well, and that's nice. And Lynnie, his wife now, she gets on well with my mum, and that's lovely. And that hour with him, we said a lot, and I remember holding his hand and just really reassuring him, telling him, that we'd look after his wife, because he was so worried about her, making sure she's okay. We will continue to do that. Really, it's it was one of the hardest hours of my life, but I'm so glad I got it with him.
Good. He was larger in life. When he threw himself into a role or any roles, he always went in 110%. His 70s band. I mean, that look. I pulled his leg.
One, isn't it?
It is a different one. I pulled his leg about that several times. Then he had his tartan on for his Roller Maniac.
Oh, he loved it.
And I pulled his leg about that something chronic. I mean, he knew it as always in good jest. And I think a lot of people didn't really take him seriously.
He was very comfortable in drag, wasn't he?
He was. But they're certainly taking him seriously now. The output of condolence messages. Facebook was overloaded with messages coming from all over the world.
Well, that's what I've found. It's
I think it's opened all our eyes.
Me and my dad used to joke. My dad used to always tell me he was famous. He'd always refer to, you got a famous dad. And I'm like, yeah, whatever. Laughing at him. So much so that those are the words I've written on the urn. Obviously, I think it's Spike Milligan told you I was ill. Well, I've written the words I chose were told you I was famous. And it just felt right, given, I say, we shared the information that Dad had passed, which was, again, one of the hardest things I've written in my life, writing about my dad passing. I cried throughout writing it and sharing all these lovely photos. But then, oh my God, so many people of support who some I knew, some I'd heard Dad mention, and then some people I don't have a clue who they were, but they were sending these lovely messages of their experiences of Dad. People I didn't, from his caretaker days at the school, parents or even children that he used to sort of support from being bullied, support from, he used to let them in a few minutes late to prevent them getting in trouble. Things that I didn't know about my dad. I had a referee who said, how much he supported her when she began, and possibly wasn't being taken seriously enough, but he supported, and I had a few messages like that, and it was incredible, and I really appreciated everyone, as did my sister, as did Lynnie. Nothing's going to bring him back, but knowing what a difference, and I'll be honest, Yeah, I was proud, like proper proud. Like, you know, when you hear that many people speak so highly of your dad, of course, you know, there's always going to be people out there that don't like you. You know, we've all got people out there that, you know, we're not their cup of tea. But bloody hell, Dad had a lot of people that said those lockdown sing-alongs that he did.
Yeah.
People talking about them, it's like they look forward to them all week. And, you know, like, and again, as a son, our humour was to take the mick out of each other. You know, he'd take the mick out of me and I'd give it all back. And
those sing-alongs that he did during COVID are on live Facebook. Yes. He was going to go and do them again when he came out of hospital.
Really?
Because he'd had to give up his singing career.
Yeah.
And I knew that he's taken this seriously this time because he wasn't going to mix anywhere that he hadn't got to. There was one gig that he really wanted to do, although Lynnie was saying, "You're not doing that," in the summer as a farewell gig, but as an open air gig. And he was going to go and do that.
Yeah,
it was his intention to relight the fire of those lockdowns. And he said, "I can do that from the safety of my kitchen."
Of course he could, yeah.
And they were very, very popular.
Yeah, I didn't realise quite how popular. And I used to tune in, especially, I think that was obviously, like you say, during COVID when we were all missing our loved ones. And I was missing Dad even more because he lived in Spain. Yeah. You know, I found that really difficult, you know, your dad living abroad. I went out to see him a couple of times, took my boys, you know, on both those occasions. One of the videos I shared the other day was Dad singing in a little bar and my boys were dancing behind him, being silly. And then one of the, you know, actually somebody commented that they remember being there that day. And I got some really nice memories of seeing him out there. And back to the live sort of sing-alongs, I didn't realise quite how many people looked forward to them and how he helped people. Yeah, because definitely. COVID was rubbish. It was. You know, and he gave somebody just that little bit to look forward to. I used to hate COVID. I love my sport, and obviously that all stopped, and I looked forward to when that started. And
what do you think to his other guys, the Pallet Man?
Yeah, I took the mick out of him a few times of that. Yeah, the Pallet Man. He was on the program, the TV program in Benidorm, and he kept referring to himself as the Pallet Man. And as I said earlier about the tumbleweed jokes, he did a joke on the show. I can't remember what it was. And me and all these grandsons, you know, he looked at the camera for a laugh, and we didn't think he got one. Right. So we found that hilarious that he told a joke that no one laughed at. And
well, I had that every week with the joke of the week on the podcast.
Perfect. Yeah. No, that's it. That's absolutely spot on. So that did amuse us because he created a little character. My boys loved it. So did Natalie's. He was amusing.
And his talent with Pallets was quite good, actually, wasn't it?
Yeah. No. Well, his home in Benidorm was put together with Pallets. Largely by Pallets. Yeah, which is crazy when you think about it. And he was, like I say, I definitely did not pick that gene up. Yeah. I wish I had.
We went to interview a special care needs CAF in Ipswich.
Okay.
And we interviewed in the CAF. There were youngsters working there with learning disabilities.
Okay, yeah.
Brilliant place. And I sat down, and Martin sat down, and he hadn't twigged it. But the table in front of us, and there was a rack behind us, and they were both made with pallets. And he hadn't twigged it. And we interviewed the owner of this CAF, and I said, "Is that table made by Pallets by any chance?" And he said, "Yes, it is, actually." He said, "So is that stand, and so is that bookcase over there." Well, you can guess what
Dad
happened
was away,
then. I was out of the conversation, full stop, and they were off.
I can imagine he really enjoyed that.
But he collected pallets far and wide because obviously he used to burn them on the wood burner.
Yes, he did.
Because I said to him one day, "Why don't you just buy some wood?" He said, "No, I'm trying to save as much money as I can."
He loved a freebie, my dad. Yeah, he absolutely did.
For Lynnie, we went up to see Ipswich play Crystal Palace again. My cousin Dom got us the tickets, and that was a brilliant day. My brother, myself, Dom, and Martin, we all went up to see it. We drove to Dom's house and left the car there. Yeah, and in Dom's garden was a load of broken up wardrobes. And as soon as Dom came out and said, "Are those yours, Dom?" He said, "Yeah, I've got to get rid of them. Somebody's got to come and take them away."
Oh, he'd have been on that.
He did. He said, "I'll have him. Do you reckon we can get him in the car, Pat?" He said.
he'd never spot. Oh, so he'd always spot an opportunity. Yeah.
So we loaded this car up with all this wardrobes.
Brilliant.
Went and watched the game, and a couple of weeks later, he'd made a table for the garden with it all, and sent a picture
he had
to
some
Dom.
talent. Yeah, he did. You know, he could make some incredible stuff with.
And as for the
someone else's rubbish.
As for the she shed he made, that's incredible.
Yeah, no, he loved sitting in that garden. I think both him and Lynnie did, and their little dog Benny.
Yeah. Yeah.
He enjoyed it out there.
If Martin was sitting here watching over now, I know he was very proud of both you and Natalie. In fact, he did pick Natalie's interview as one of his top podcasts just before Christmas. He was obviously very proud of you two and proud of what you've done and what you've achieved. And that was a constant reminder to me because he kept mentioning it. I'm off to play for Johnny's golf day and all this, and he always rained off. You know, I got a text. Oh, it's chucking it down in rain here, and all this sort of thing. And he was really feeling it for you. I think you know
I organised a cricket. I used to do a cricket match every year. I lost my best mate years ago. Yeah, and organised a charity game in memory of him, to raise money. Yeah, for suicide awareness, and we ran that for 10 years. Raised a lot of money for Karma, a really important charity, and Dad supported that day. He played a good 4 or 5 years. Actually, it might have even been more than that. Yeah. He never lost that competitive edge. No. Right up to this last summer, you know, obviously, you know, only a few months ago, really, when you look back.
Well, a good sportsman never lose that competitive edge.
No, he hated that he weren't quite, you know, at his peak anymore. Yeah. But he took a couple of catches, and he liked to remind me of those, you know. Yeah, right. You know, of the entire day, that was the one moment he used to like talking about a lot. But he did take a couple of good catches, and he, obviously when he was younger, he could really hit a ball, but he loved his sport, and like I say, he was always really supportive of things like that. You know, like I say, when we're having a big day, a really important day to me.
Can you think of anything he didn't like? Because I can't really.
Oh God, numbers, I suppose.
Well, numbers, yeah.
Yeah, that weren't his go-to. Like I say, that was always when he'd call upon his
He'd
his
always
son,
have a go at something, wouldn't he?
Yeah, no, he would.
Whether he ever told you, but we had this little competition we used to have. And when we used to go out together, when I went down to the Royal Marsden with him, funnily enough, we played it. We'd sit in a train, or we sat at a bar when we come out of the Royal Marsden. And we'd always try and spot celebrity lookalikes.
Yeah, he loved the lookalike, yeah.
And that really caught on. So, and some of the lookalikes were a bit, you know,
dodgy.
If somebody had a bald head, it'd be Duncan Goodhue or something
like that. Yeah.
So it didn't have to be that close. But what do you think of his celebrity chasing?
Oh my God, he was obsessed. He really was. He loved it. Years before I became an adult, he'd be going through all his autograph books, showing me. I didn't have a clue half of them were back then. Oh. Now I probably maybe I do now. But back then I didn't have a clue. But he loved showing me all these sort of, celebrity, you know, photos, autographs. It was relentless. You know, like I say, we used to go and watch Arsenal reserves back in the day where a first teamer might be coming back from injury and play, and we'd always have to wait hours after the game, you know, just in case they came out, and he'd get an opportunity for an autograph. Me, Dad, and my sister went to a couple of plays in Norwich over the last few years, and there'd always be a celebrity. Yeah. And sure enough, he'd be there waiting for that autograph, for that photo. And then the most memorable one, I phoned him and I said, "You all right, Dad?" And he said, "Yeah." And I said, "What are you up to?" And he goes, "I'm just here chatting to Anthony Joshua." Yeah. And I was like, "Yeah, all right." And he goes, "No, I am. I'm talking to Anthony Joshua." I go, and he said, "You know, Anthony, we speak to my son." Anthony comes on the phone and he starts chatting away to me. I'm like, Jesus. So I didn't believe it to start with. Yeah. And then I started chatting away, and I thought, this is either the best impressionist ever, or I'm really speaking to Anthony Joshua. Yeah. And I had a full-on conversation with Anthony Joshua, and then he passed the phone back to Dad, and Dad was like, "Told ya."
Yeah, he told me that story.
Yeah, and then he sent me the photo shortly after of him and Anthony. Well, it's mainly Anthony's chest with Dad's head alongside it. There's a tiny bit of a height difference, but that was just... Yeah, and again, he just sought out that opportunity because he'd heard a rumour Anthony was, you know, turning up at a local pub for a talk or something like that, and he Stalked him. Yeah, we used to, gently remind him it was bordering on stalking, and he loved it.
I think he had a natural draw to celebrities because he'd spot them anywhere.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, some of them would be really obscure.
Not really a celebrity.
So-and-so over there. And I go, who?
Who's that?
He's been on Tenko or something back in 1964, and he was he was a waiter or something.
That's it. We've got a scarf. Yeah, he did. Dad had a great autograph collection, as I referred to earlier, and he's got the World Cup squad, the 1966 one, and I was like, wow, that was a real decent bit of memorabilia. And then he goes, I've also got a Sunita from Coronation Street scarf. Yeah. And I'm like, why? Why did you want that, Dad? Yeah. He goes, well, it might be worth something. To whom? like, who's going to want Sunita's scarf? And there was a Weather Girls, I think it might have been another scarf. So he's probably got a collection of really pointless scarves at home. But
did he tell you about Liz Truss?
Oh, possibly. I can't remember. Yeah. He's told me a lot of stories.
She was out campaigning one day and he grabbed her, I think, and got an autograph.
Of course he did. Yeah. He never missed that opportunity as soon as he...
But I know all the shows we used to go to together, he always wanted to go to the stage door at the end. And
that was it. Yeah, he loved it. Yeah, I remember watching cricket games at the Oval when we were kids. When I was a kid, and he took me. And we'd go to watch the cricket, but Dad would go to watch the member stand because he'd want to see which celebrities were there. Yeah. I always remember him spotting John Major and, at the Oval, and he zoomed in on him. And he was much more excited about the fact that he was there watching than anything going on in the cricket. Yeah. Really? Which probably a lot of other people would share that viewpoint. But
yeah, he certainly was larger than life character.
He was.
And he spent a lot of time. We did a couple of sport memory days when Andy was on holiday, and me and Martin did a quiz and a name that tune, old tunes from the old TV shows.
Loved a quiz.
And we did those quizzes for all the 50 to 60
free,
probably.
Free people.
But we did it together, and we slowly started to slip into our comedy routine that we used to do years and years ago.
Yeah,
and we really enjoyed it. And one guy came up to me and Martin, he said, that was brilliant. He said, that reminded me of Morecambe and Wise.
Oh, wow.
And so...
It was up there with the Vic and Bob comparison.
He just loved to be up there.
Yeah. Oh, he was so comfortable on stage. There wasn't a shy bone in his body.
No.
There really wasn't. I watched him countless times on stages. We went to another farewell gig, actually, at the Key Theatre when he performed.
That's right, yeah.
We used to take the mick again because he had his farewell gig several times, it felt like. Yeah,
I know.
I said, how many more of these are you going to have, Dad? And he was just comfortable up there. The places where most people, you put many on a stage and they'd hate it, but he was so happy up there and he loved the adulation. And
do you have any regrets?
No. I talked about going to cricket. It's a nightmare getting tickets, and we finally won some for the summer, and me and my dad, we booked a couple of nights at in a Leeds hotel, and we were going to go to Headingley and share that together. And I was really looking forward to it. Obviously, as I said, Dad's was a huge Arsenal fan, and we're doing well this year, and it really feels like something big's going to happen at the club we both love. And Dad was that was one of the things he said. He goes, I'm not going to get to see us win the league. And it was rubbish, obviously. And I really still hope we win the league for him, but I know I'm going to be filled with sadness if we're there, if we get to watch, wherever we are, I'm going to be thinking of him, and it won't quite feel right, without him there. And I spoke to Andy about this last week,
and he was the same. He said, I'm sure there'll be a lot of people raise a glass to Martin if Arsenal win the Premiership this season.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we haven't scored a goal since he passed, so I don't know, 2-0. But I really do hope we do it, and absolutely we are looking for that for him, and I really hope that he's able to look down and see that happen,
What parts of your dad do you see living on in you?
It's like I say, we refer to being a dad. Like I say, I certainly like to feel I picked up some good characteristics from him as a dad. when I hear, about the way he was at work, when he supported others, I really hope, I've picked up those traits. As in my job, I work as a senior manager in a little school, and we support young people with learning difficulties, and I help them. Kids who've got really bad experience of school. And when I heard some of the comments, and you think, Dad used to help kids, when they were struggling at school, and I think I've picked those up. Definitely don't have that love for being on a stage like my dad did. Well, I do like a bit of karaoke. Takes me several pints before I get up there.
He always said that Natalie likes a bit of karaoke.
Oh yeah, well. We've got some great videos from when she was a teenager doing the karaoke. Yeah, which I might show her just to embarrass her a bit.
Well, that's good that you've got. These days, you've got lots of pictures and phone pictures and memories, which you don't have so much years ago. So you've got all those to look back on.
Yeah, and we have been
a little bit better. They'll bring a lot of strength to you.
I think so too. Yeah, I cried my eyes out watching them, and I find them. But I'm smiling through the tears. If I'm looking back, and they are reminders that Dad was a good dad. He was a good granddad. When the boys were little, you can see the videos and the photos of him always, helping my littlest boy to walk, and going down the slides with him. He loved doing all that,
Yeah.
And when the boys got older, like I say, me, my dad, and my son Alfie, we got to share a cricket field together. Playing the same match together. And there's not many, men that can say that they got to play cricket with their dad and their son.
I know he used to like to come over to Melford and watch his grandchildren play football.
He did, yes. He used to remind us a lot that he played for Melford. Yeah, he liked dropping that in.
Oh, I'm sure he did.
Oh, yes, and he did. It was great because my son and my sister's eldest played in the same team together, so Dad loved watching them as well as the younger, Billy and Theo. So he did enjoy watching that.
Well, he was known well in the old football fraternity when he played for Bewers and as a goalkeeper.
Yes, he liked to tell me he was a good keeper. To be fair, I have heard, he was decent.
Again, we had this conversation with Andy last week where Andy remembered Martin telling him that he was working on a roof or somewhere for a builder, and he come down the ladder, and at the bottom there was Sal Ramsey.
Wow.
Did he ever tell you that
story?
No,
I didn't know that one. That's,
Yeah, well, that's something.
That's a proper celebrity, that one, yeah.
And he was just walking past the ladder, and this was in Sudbury.
Wow.
And I said to Andy, I bet he said to Sir Alf, he hadn't got a camera.
Selfie.
So he couldn't get a selfie. So I bet he said to Sir Alf, he said, I'm a goalkeeper, if you want to.
Oh,
if you're looking for one.
He'd have spotted an opportunity, wouldn't he? Yeah.
No, he'd have been in there like a shot.
He'd have been, selling himself, wouldn't he? Yeah, no.
I hear he's quite a good goalkeeper as well.
He was. So I got to, we played in a five-a-side league, just me and my mates, and he loved coming down to watch, and then one of the other teams needed a goalkeeper. Right. So Dad, God, it weren't that long ago, he joined in and he played in goal, and he played 5 or 6 times, and he could still throw himself about a bit. I know, I was going to say that I remember a fate over in Bewers, but that was, he got to take a penalty against Tottenham goalkeeper who went on to play for England, Ian Walker. Yeah. And he loved to tell me that he buried 2 out of 3, I think it was.
Brilliant.
Yeah, he loved his footy.
Yeah. Well, I think we can take from that sport played a really big part in his life.
Yes.
And entertainment, of course.
Yep.
Thanks, Jonny, for speaking to me today so honestly.
You're very welcome. I enjoyed it.
We're all sorry to lose Martin, but he has made a huge impact on all our lives.
Yes, yeah.
We certainly won't be forgetting him, that's for sure. And he lives on in our memory.
Yeah, we'll make sure of that. I'm really proud. Really proud of me, Dad.
You should be, and he's proud of you too.
Yeah, proud of the fight he did, that he gave. And just grateful to have had him.
Yeah, brilliant. Thanks very much.
Cheers, Pat.
Thanks.
You've been listening to the Who's Tom and Dick podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe to the show on Apple, Spotify, or your favorite streaming platform. New episodes are available every Friday. Thanks for tuning in. Together, they cherish it all. Tom and Dick, in a world so grand. You know